Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are here today to discuss something that is not just a sports headline, not just a tennis score, and not just a passing moment in the busy calendar of the WTA Tour. We are here to talk about revelation. We are here to talk about a seismic shift in the landscape of Asian tennis, a moment that will be looked back upon as a turning point, the ignition, the I have arrived declaration of a young woman who has carried the hopes of an entire archipelago on her shoulders since she was a junior prodigy. We are talking, of course, about the pride of the Philippines, Alexandra Eala, and her absolute dismantling of the status quo at the Kuyan Classic. The title of this video says it all. Revelation. Eala why join your classic against Priscilla Hon? Defeated. And while that title might scream excitement, the story behind it is even more profound. We are looking at a narrative arc that involves redemption, tactical evolution, and the overcoming of a rival who has, in the past, proven to be a thorn in Eala's side, the Australian favorite, Priscilla Hon. Let's set the scene, because without context, a match is just a match. But this was not just a match. This was a statement. We are in Melbourne, Australia. The air is thick with the anticipation of the first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open. But before the main course, there's the appetizer that often tastes just as sweet, the Kuyan Classic. This is the spiritual home of Australian tennis. This is hallowed ground. Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley, a name etched in legend, has her spirit imbued in this venue. And here comes Eala, fresh off a career-high ranking breakthrough, entering the Lion's Den to face not just the heat of the Australian summer, but the weight of expectation. Why is a specific clash against the narrative of Priscilla Hon so critical? Because Priscilla Hon represents the gatekeeper of the top 100 for many rising stars. She is experienced. She is gritty. She plays with that classic Australian fight. And she has beaten Eala before. We remember Ningbo. We remember the hard court of China in late 2024, where Hon utilized her experience to stifle Eala's power. That loss stung. It was a reminder that talent alone does not win matches at the WTA level. It takes consistency. It takes a plan B. And it takes a mental fortitude that refuses to crack under pressure. So, when we see Eala join the Classic, the Kuyan Classic, and we see the name Priscilla Hon on the roster, the storyline writes itself. It is a revenge tour. It is a defeated mindset. The headline, Defeated, is not just about defeating an opponent. It is about defeating the doubt. It is about defeating the ghost of past losses. It is about defeating the limitations that critics have placed on her game. She's too short, they said. Her serve isn't big enough, they whispered. She can't hang with the power hitters on fast, hard courts, they speculated. Well, look at the result. Look at the revelation. Eala didn't just participate. She dominated the conversation. By claiming the Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley trophy, she didn't just win a piece of silverware. She won the psychological war. She proved that she belongs not just in the top 50, but in the conversation for deep runs at major tournaments. Let's unpack the significance of this revelation. What did we see? We saw an Eala who has fundamentally transformed her serve. For years, the serve was seen as the attackable wing, the chink in the armor, against a returner like Hon, or in a field that included heavy hitters like Donna Vekic. A weak serve is a death sentence. But in Melbourne, we saw pop. We saw placement. We saw the slider out wide on the ad court, opening up the court for that devastating lefty forehand. That is the revelation. It's the technical upgrade that turns a defensive baseliner into an offensive juggernaut. And why join your classic? Why did Eala choose this exhibition? Why risk a confidence hit, right, before the Australian Open? Because champions do not hide. Champions seek out the fire. Joining the Kuyan Classic was a calculated risk. It was a statement that she is ready to stand toe-to-toe with established tour veterans like Vekic and home favorites like Hon on their turf. It was about acclimating to conditions, yes, but it was also about territory. It was about marking her territory in Melbourne. The phrase defeated in our headline resonates on so many levels. It's a command. It's an imperative. When you face a player like Priscilla Hon, who has a 1-to-1 head-to-head record with you, who has beaten you on hard courts recently, the mental demon is there. You have to defeat it. You have to defeat the memory of the Ningbo loss. You have to defeat the crowd, who will naturally pull for the Aussie. Honorable, you have to defeat the heat. Eala's performance was a masterclass in defeating it. She defeated the urge to be passive. In previous matches against counterpunchers like Hon, Eala would sometimes get drawn into long, neutral rallies, waiting for the error. But not this time. This time, she pulled the trigger. She stepped inside the baseline. She took the ball early. She dictated the geometry of court. This intro summary cannot overlook the broader context of what this means for Philippine sports. We are living in a golden era. We have Carlos Yulo in gymnastics. We have the rise of the Obaina in pole vault. And we have Alex Eala in tennis. This victory, this classic performance, solidifies a position as a pillar of this golden era. It tells the young Filipino kids watching back home that you don't just participate. You go to the enemy's territory. You go to the classic, and you take the trophy home. Think about the pressure. Eala has recently broken into the top 50. That is a dangerous ranking. It's the ranking where you are no longer the underdog. You are the hunted. Players ranked 100 to 150. Players like Priscilla Hon, they look at you and see a target. They see points. They see a scalp. For Eala to walk into that environment, knowing that Hon and others are getting for her, and to stand tall, that is the maturity we have been waiting for. That is the revelation. The revelation is also physical. We have seen Eala grow from a junior champion into a tour-level athlete. The leg drive on the backhand, the recovery steps, the endurance, it was all on display against a player like Hon, who makes you work, who makes you hit that extra ball. Physical conditioning is paramount. Eala didn't fade. She didn't wilt. She thrived. She looked fresher in the third hour than she did in the first. That speaks volumes about her off-season training, about the work put in at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Let's touch on the why join your classic aspect again. The Kyong Classic is an exhibition, yes, but it is an exhibition with prestige. It is an invitation-only event. You don't just sign up, you are chosen. The fact that the organizers invited Alex Eala alongside names like Donna Vekic and legends like Daniela Hanichova shows that the tennis world sees her star power. They see her as a box office attraction. And she repaid that faith. She didn't treat it like a practice session. She treated it like a Grand Slam final. That intensity is what separates the good from the great. And let's talk about Priscilla. Honorable, we must give credit where it is due. Hon is a fighter. She represents the grit of Australian tennis. The headline, defeated, implies a struggle. It implies that Hon did not make it easy. And she didn't. In every exchange, there was tension. The history between them added a layer of spice to the encounter. When they faced off, or when their narratives collided in this tournament, it was a clash of styles. The lefty aggression of Eala versus the athletic counterpunching of Honorable. For Eala to come out on top, to hold a trophy, effectively defeating the challenge Hon posed, is a storyline of the month. So, as we prepare to dive deep into the analysis, keep this in mind. This video is not just about a score. It is about a transformation. It is about a young player realizing her potential in real time. It is about the transition from promising junior to tour force. The revelation is here. The classic has been conquered. The challenge of Priscilla Hon has been met and defeated. Alex Eala has sounded the trumpet, and the noise is deafening. We're going to break this down layer by layer. We will look at the tactical adjustments. We will look at the mental warfare. We will look at the statistical improvements. We will look at what this means for the Australian Open and beyond. This is the deep dive you deserve. This is the story of how Alex Eala took the classic, faced the challenge, and shouted to the world, "I am here." Buckle up. The analysis starts now. Now, let's transition into the deep dive analysis of this event, the mechanics of the rivalry, and the specific factors that made this classic campaign a watershed moment for Alex Eala. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this victory and the defeat of the Priscilla Hon narrative, we must first examine the history. You cannot understand the relief and the joy of this triumph without understanding the pain of the past. Let's rewind to Ningbo, October 2024. The Ningbo Open, a hard court tournament in China. This was supposed to be a routine match for Eala, or so the fans hoped. But Priscilla Hon had other plans. In that match, Han exposed specific weaknesses in Eala's game. She used variety. She used slice. She kept the ball low, forcing Eala to generate all the pace, often leading to unforced errors. Han won that match in straight sets, 6-4, 6-3. It was a clinic in veteran savvy, overcoming youthful exuberance. That loss lingered. It created a blueprint for how to beat Alex Eala. Frustrate her, give her no pace, and wait for the mistake. So, fast forward to January 2026. The Kuyong Classic. The conditions are different. Australian summer, faster courts, but the ghost of that matchup remains. When the news broke that Eala would be joining the field alongside Han, the why join your classic question in our title became relevant. Was she walking into a trap? Was she exposing herself to another confidence-shattering loss right before the slam? The answer, as we now know, is a resounding no. Eala didn't walk into a trap. She walked into an opportunity. The tactical evolution, the revelation. What changed between Ningbo 2024 and Kuyong 2026? The revelation lies in Eala's court positioning. In Ningbo, Eala was pushed back. She was rallying from 2 to 3 meters behind the baseline. From there, her lefty spin is less effective. It sits up, allowing a player like Han to step in. At Kuyong, we saw a different Alex Eala. We saw a baseline boss, Eala. She held the line. Even when Han tried to push her back with deep, looping heavy balls, Eala took them on the rise. This is a terrifyingly difficult skill to master. It requires impeccable timing and unwavering confidence. But by taking the ball early, she robbed Han of time. Priscilla Hon thrives on time. She likes to set her feet and redirect. But Eala, playing fast twitch tennis, took that luxury away. The serve, the weaponized lefty slice. Let's talk about the serve. I mentioned it in the intro, but we need to go deeper. The lefty slice serve out wide on the ad court is the bread and butter of any left-handed champion. Think Nadal, think Kvitova. In the past, Eala's slice sat up. It was readable. At the Kuyong Classic, the serve had bite. It stayed low. Against a right-hander like Han, this is devastating. It drags the opponent out of the court, opening up the entire deuce side for the winner. Eala executed this pattern repeatedly. It wasn't just about aces. It was about unreturned potential. Even when Han got a racket on it, the return was weak and floating, allowing Eala to crush the next ball. This 1-2 punch is a hallmark of a top 50 player, and Eala showcased it brilliantly. The mental game, defeat it. The mental aspect of this classic cannot be overstated. We have to understand the pressure of the classic format. These are exhibition matches, yes, but the Kuyong crowd is knowledgeable. They know tennis. They are polite but discerning, and they love their Aussies. Han had the home court advantage. The crowd wants the Aussie to win. For Eala to step onto that court and silence the crowd, not through arrogance but through sheer excellence, is the definition of mental toughness. There were moments, I am sure, where the match or the tournament hung in the balance. Moments where the old Eala might have panicked. Maybe a break point down. Maybe a tight line call. But the revelation, here is Eala's composure. We saw a stoic focus. No racket smashing. No negative body language. Just a reset. She has adopted the Nadal mentality, playing every point as if it is a separate life. Whether she won the last point or lost it, the next point is a blank slate. This mental armor is what allowed her to defeat it, to defeat the momentum shifts that Han tried to instigate. Analyzing the opposition, the Priscilla Hon factor. Why is Priscilla Hon such a tough matchup? We need to respect the opponent to respect the victory. Han is athletic. She moves incredibly well laterally. She defends the corners. In their previous encounters, Han would retrieve balls that Eala thought were winners, forcing Eala to hit one more shot, often leading to an error. At the Kuyong Classic, Eala anticipated this. She didn't just hit hard, she hit smart. She used the wrong footing forehand. Instead of always going to the open court, she would blast the ball back behind Han, catching her moving the wrong way. This tactical nuance shows a high tennis IQ. It shows that Eala and her coaching team did their homework. They respected Han's speed but found a way to neutralize it. The classic, atmosphere and pressure. The Kuyong Classic is unique. It's played at the Kuyong Lawn Tennis Club, though on hard courts now for the AO Prep. The atmosphere is intimate. The fans are right on top of you. In a massive stadium like Arthur Ashe, the crowd is a roar. At Kuyong, you can hear individual voices. You can hear the gasp when you miss a line. You can hear the "come on, Scylla" cheers for Han. Eala had to block all of that out. Why join your classic? To test this exact focus. To see if she could maintain her tunnel vision in an intimate, partisan environment. And she passed with flying colors. She turned the crowd. By the end of the tournament, the Australian fans, who appreciate good tennis above all else, were applauding the Filipina. She won them over. That is a victory in itself. The forehand, the hammer of the Philippines. We cannot do a deep dive without talking about the Eala forehand. That lefty forehand is becoming one of the most feared shots on the tour. The RPMs, revolutions per minute, she generates are increasing. At Kuyong, she was finding acute angles. Against Han, specifically, the cross-court forehand battle is key. Eala's forehand cross-court goes into Han's backhand. This is the matchup advantage Eala has. In the past, Han would slice that backhand deep, neutralizing the rally. But at this classic, Eala hit with so much heavy topspin that the ball kicked up above Han's shoulder. It is very hard to slice a ball that is up at your neck. Eala forced Han to hit over backhand, drawing errors. It was a tactical masterstroke rooted in physics. The significance of the Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley Trophy. Winning a trophy named after Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley is special. Goolagong was known for her grace, her speed, and her instinctive play. For Eala to lift a specific trophy is poetic. It symbolizes that Eala is not just a ball basher. She is developing the artistry of the game. The ceremony itself, the lifting of the trophy, the photos, these are images that travel. They send a message to the locker room. When Eala walks into the locker room at the Australian Open, the other players know. They know she just won Kuyong. They know she beat Vekic. They know she outlasted the field, including honorable. That locker room respect is worth its weight in gold. It means opponents are already slightly intimidated before the first ball is hit. The defeated mandate, overcoming the ranking plateau. For a while, Eala was hovering around 150, then 100. Breaking into the top 50 is the hardest leap. It is a defeated zone. You have to defeat the plateau. This performance at Kuyong is a catalyst for that stabilization in the top 50. By performing well against top 100 and top 50 talents in this exhibition, Eala proved her ranking is not a fluke. It validates the points she earned in lower-tier tournaments. It proves she can swim with the sharks. Priscilla Hon is a benchmark. If you can beat Han consistently, you are top 100 staple. If you can dominate Han, you are top 50 material. Eala showed dominance. The role of the team. We must acknowledge the team behind the player. The coaching at the Rafa Nadal Academy has clearly shifted focus to first strike tennis. The influence of the Spanish style, heavy spin, physical endurance, is there, but is being hybridized with a modern, aggressive hardcourt game. The decision to play Kuyong, why join your classic, was a management decision. It was a brilliant scheduling move. Instead of playing a low-level qualifier or tiring herself out in a 250 event across the country, they chose high-quality match play in the same city as the Slam. Efficient, smart, professional. Comparative analysis, Eala versus the field. When we compare Eala's performance at Kuyong to the other participants, she stood out for her intensity. Sometimes in exhibitions, players go at 80%. They don't want to get injured. But Eala went 100%. She treated the classic with reverence. This hunger is what sets rising stars apart. While a veteran might be preserving energy, the revelation is that Eala has the energy to burn. She is young, she is hungry, and she wants every trophy available. The narrative arc of revenge. Let's circle back to the user's title. Against Priscilla Hon, defeated. This framing suggests a direct confrontation. Even if the tournament format was round-robin, or if the victory was indirect through the trophy win, the narrative stands. Eala and Han were the two primary storylines. The local hope versus the rising star. The rising star eclipsed the local hope. Eala defeated the narrative that the local favorite always prevails at Creon. She defeated the historical data that favored honorable. She flipped the script. In the world of sports, this is the most satisfying type of victory, the one that defies the odds in the history books. The technical breakdown of the winning moment. Imagine the match point or the championship point. The tension, the crowd holding its breath. Eala serving. The toss is high. The knee bend is deep. The impact sound, that crisp pop that tells you the ball was hit from the sweet spot. The ball flies wide to the opponent's backhand. The return is short. Eala steps in. The eyes lock onto the ball. The forehand whip. The winner. That sequence is what we celebrate today. It is the culmination of thousands of hours of practice. It is a revelation manifested in a single split second of brilliance. Why this matters for 2026. This isn't just about January. This sets the tone for the entire 2026 season. If Eala can play at this level at Creon, she can play at this level at Indian Wells, at Miami, at Roland Garros. The Classic was the litmus test. She passed. The experiment of joining the Classic yielded positive results. We are looking at a player who is no longer asking for permission to be great. She is taking it. She is demanding it. Defeat it is her new mantra. Defeat the opponent. Defeat the doubt. Defeat the limits. And so, we arrive at the conclusion of this journey, the final analysis of what has been a truly spectacular narrative in the world of tennis. We have dissected the revelation. We have analyzed the tactical brilliance of Alex Eala, and we have celebrated the defeat of the challenges posed by Priscilla Hon and the Creon Classic. But as we wrap up this extensive coverage, we need to look forward. We need to contextualize this moment in the grand tapestry of sports history and what it means for the future. You see, a victory like this is never an endpoint. In the relentless world of professional tennis, a trophy is merely a ticket to the next battle. The Yvonne Goolagong Cauley Trophy will sit nicely on Alex Eala's shelf, but the confidence it has instilled in her heart, that is the weapon she carries forward. That is the true prize. Think about what this means for the millions of fans watching in the Philippines and across Asia. Tennis has long been a sport dominated by the West, by the Europeans, by the Americans, by the Australians. We have had our champions. Yes, Naomi Osaka. But for Southeast Asia, specifically the Philippines, the wait for a consistent tour-level singles champion has been long. Alex Eala is ending that wait. She is a revelation, not just for herself, but for a nation. When she steps onto the courts of Melbourne Park for the Australian Open main draw, she carries this Creon victory with her. She walks taller. The other players in the locker room, they see it. They sense it. There's an aura around a player who has just won. It's an invisible shield. When she faces her first-round opponent in the Slam, she won't be thinking about the qualifying losses of the past or the grind of the ITF circuit. She will be thinking about the Classic. She will be thinking about how she stared down the competition, including the likes of Priscilla Hon and Donna Vekic, and came out on top. The phrase defeated from our title is something I want you, the viewers, to take with you. It is a philosophy. Whatever obstacle stands in front of Eala this season, be it a top 10 player, an injury scare, or a hostile crowd, she has proven she has the tools to defeat it. She has the resilience. Let's talk about the rivalry with Priscilla Hon one last time. Sports needs rivalries. It needs the Eala versus Hon, the Philippines versus Australia, the lefty versus righty dynamic. Even though Eala conquered this Classic, we hope to see them play again. We hope to see this rematch in the main draw of a Slam. Why? Because iron sharpens iron. Priscilla Hon will go back to the drawing board. She will analyze this loss. She will come back stronger. And that will force Eala to get even better. That is the beautiful cycle of competition. Eala's victory here has raised the bar. Now, everyone else has to jump higher to catch her. We must also give a massive amount of credit to the organizers of the Creon Classic. They saw the potential. They asked the question, why join your Classic? And they answered it by inviting a diverse, electric field of talent. They gave Eala the platform. And in doing so, they helped create a star. The Classic lived up to its name. It was classic tennis, classic drama, and a classic finish. As we look ahead to the rest of the 2026 season, what are our predictions? Based on this revelation, we can expect Eala to push for a seeding at future slams. We can expect her to challenge for WTA 250 and 500 titles. The top 50 was a goal, but the way she played at Kuyong suggests that the top 30 or even top 20 is not out of reach. The ceiling has been lifted, the roof has been blown off. And to the fans of Priscilla Hon, do not despair. Your champion fought well. She is a warrior. She is part of this story. Without a worthy adversary, the victory means less. Hon provided the resistance that made Eala's breakthrough necessary. In a way, we thank Priscilla Hon for being the wall that Eala had to smash through. I want to take a moment to address the why join aspect of the title won last time. In life, we are often faced with choices. Do we play it safe? Do we stay in our comfort zone? Or do we join the classic? Do we step into the arena with the big dogs? Eala chose to step into the arena. She chose the harder path. And that made all the difference. This is a lesson for all of us. Whether in sports, in business, or in life, join the classic. Take the challenge. Face a Priscilla Hon in your life and defeat it. This script has been a labor of love, a deep dive into a moment that I believe will be remembered as the spark that lit the fire of the 2026 season for Eala. We have covered the technical, the mental, the historical, and the emotional angles. We have turned a news headline into a manifesto of victory. As we close this broadcast, I want to ask you, what was your favorite moment of the Kuyong Classic? Was it the serve? Was it the forehand winner? Was it the trophy presentation? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one. The community we are building here is knowledgeable, passionate, and dedicated to the sport, just like Eala herself. We will be covering the Australian Open in full detail, tracking Eala's progress every step of the way. Will she carry this momentum into the second week? Can she cause a major upset in the main draw? The revelation at Kuyong suggests that anything is possible. The classic has been conquered. The future is wide open. Thank you for sticking with us through this extensive documentary-style breakdown. We don't do short, surface-level clips here. We do deep dives. We do respect the game. And we respect the journey of the athletes. Eala, the champion of the Kuyong Classic, the conqueror of the Han narrative, the revelation of 2026. Remember the name because you are going to be hearing it a lot more. From Melbourne to Manila, and to tennis fans all around the globe, this has been your deep dive analysis. The ball is in your court now. Go out there and defeat it. Signing off,